Ecco, proprio a proposito di queste ultime, diciamo così, facce che ha fatto, ecco, mi piacerebbe sapere come lei si è relazionato con i propri attori, cioè abbiamo saputo che in altri film lei prendeva, prima imitava l'attore nella parte che doveva fare, nel ruolo, eccetera. Ecco, qui aveva un sacco di attori, che cosa faceva? Mostrava ad ognuno di loro che cosa voleva, che cosa aveva in testa, e poi una curiosità. Brad Pitt qui assomiglia abbastanza, qualche cosa di mezzo, tra Claire Gable e Roth. È un abbaglio o no? Grazie. E anche l'attore, se vuole poi rispondere, com'è andata.
Well, the thing is, you know, when you work with actors, everybody is different. So you have to, you know, if you want to get the best out of anybody and you want to make them the most comfortable, then you work with everybody slightly different way. It's not like oh, here's a way I work and you all have to work with me that way. That's usually a director doesn't know how to deal with actors. You have to work with each actor for their own peculiarities or strengths or personality traits. And but basically, what it is, you know, I'm a writer, and I create characters, and that's one of the #1 things that I do. And I'm very precious about these characters. They're my babies, and that's what I have to offer to the world. I gave birth to them with nothing. They always started with a book. It's not a book adaptation. It was a blank page of paper, and then from that blank page, I came up with these characters and their lives. And so, you know, it's one of the most precious things that I do. So that's why, when it comes to casting actors, I really am casting actors who best can play these characters, who can best take them off the page and make them real. Like if you had said 3 years ago, oh, would you like to work with Brad Pitt? You know, I would say, yeah, sure, I'd like to work with Brad Pitt, but it doesn't work that way. I have to come up with a character that he would be the perfect person to play. Then, if that is the case, and I'm lucky enough to get him, then it can be magnificent, what we do. But it really, you know, to do it any other way, at least for me, is putting the cart before the horse. But as far as my method is concerned, you know, one of the, I guess, this kind of stuff is really hard to describe without either getting boring or pretentious, but the best kind of way to describe it for me is, I know the character. I know the character. I know what happens before the movie. I know how they get there. And in the case of if they live through one of my movies, which only so many of them do, I know kind of what happens after. I know what happens after. And also, the only time I don't know is actually when I'm deeply writing the script, because they can always surprise me. They really do write the movie for me, and I'm more like a corporate reporter, right? Like what you guys are doing. I'm writing it down as they talk. But the thing about it is, as opposed to, even when I worked with Robert De Niro, you know, it's not like, you know, when I gave Robert De Niro the character of Lewis, say, in Jackie Brown, it's not like he went out and found some ex-con he could hang out with and talk about, and he was going to base Lewis on this person he met. He based the information on me. He knew I knew the guy. I created the guy. I answered all of his questions. I filled him in on stuff. And one of the things about that, about this, my basing everything on character and just relating that to the actor and kind of immersing them in that, is there's all kinds of stuff that I know about the character that has nothing to do with the audience. It's not part of the story. You guys never need to know it. But you need to know I know it. You need to know I know who these people are. You need to know the actors know who these people are. And not the point that you need to know, but you need to know we know this character so much that there's more to him than just the plot of the movie.
Well, I will say, as an actor working with Quentin, I mean, I'm coming at it from a director's point of view, and I looked at this like going to the world's greatest masterclass in directing. It was an incredible opportunity. But Quentin knew that I loved acting, and he felt that I had a talent that I wasn't fully mining, that I wasn't really fully taking seriously. And he had tremendous faith in me, so I really threw it and gave it everything I had. And I remember in our first conversation, he said, you know, the DNA for your character, everything, it's all on the page. And it is. Everything that you see, it's like, you can imagine the movie, it's all there in the script. There's such beautifully written characters. But I still went, and we all did our homework and our research, and I spent a month preparing the character. And he said, you have to know this character the way you know your best friend. The way, like, if you all think of your 3 best friends right now, if a girl walked by, if a dog walked by, if someone's mother walked by, you know how each one of them will react. And you have to know the character that way. So, without giving away too many trade secrets, basically the first day when we sat down, Quentin just goes, who are you? And you talk about your character. And if you didn't know, you were the fuck out of there. You were gone.
We never saw you again.
You never saw you. The next day, there was like, people were like, oh, what's he talking about? Like, I just thought I had to know my lines. They were gone. And the people, that's why the people that were left on the mission and that were in the film, we all knew each other. We all knew what our relationships were. That's before you even opened the script. Before we even cracked the page and started saying our lines, we knew, okay, well, how did you feel when he joined the Bastards? And how did you feel about this? And we knew ourselves, we knew each other, we knew what our relationships were. And that's before you even start. Now you take that to the set. I've been on so many sets where you see the director sets up a frame and tells the actors, okay, you're going to walk in, you're going to go here, you're going to, it's the opposite. It's you sit there, and it's the performance, and you get the characters, and the last thing that happens, once you're running it, is Quentin comes in with a finder. So that, I think, is one of the things that his care about the character, it really goes through the entire process, and we all take it so seriously, and I think that that's what the audiences respond to. And it was a really tremendous pleasure to be a part of it.
Just to add, Quentin creates an enormous amount of trust with the actors. You can hear Eli talking about it. So I think one of the reasons why his performance is always so great in movies is that, you know, actors, they need to trust their director. They need to trust that they can go like a child and wherever they want to go, and that the director will guide them, steer them, and ultimately take care of them. So, for instance, Quentin, sometimes, to the detriment of the scene, will sit in front of the camera, and every once in a while, especially if it's funny, he'll start laughing. You'll hear everyone's in the characters, and when they're acting, he'll be enjoying it so much, he'll start laughing. But being right next to the camera, as opposed to...
And you play the scene back, and you hear me go, and then I fall in love with that. Now I insist that it stays in the movie.
So he instead of being behind a monitor, he's actually sitting right next to the camera, watching the scene. He's in the scene with the actors. That's how in it he is, and it creates a different type of, not a different type of acting, but a very sort of an acting that's very real.
You know, I actually can use an example to get across something, because I'm saying, oh, I know the character, I know the characters, I know the characters. Well, that is part of the case, but then at some point, you know, when you cast good actors, now they've taken the characters, and you know, and so once they actually have the character, then I'm not so much tell. Then I become more ask. Now they know the people, and just to give you an example. You probably all remember the scene in the opening scene when Hans Landa is interrogating the French farmer, and then he pulls out the Sherlock Holmes pipe in the calabash. All right, so now in the script, that was his pipe, and it popped up in very minor ways, little minor ways, about twice, 2 more times in the script. He just took it out, and you know, he was like he was thinking. And so that was what the script was, and that was what everyone was planning to do. So I started thinking about it, and then I went out and had Dina Schnitzel with Christoph Waltz, and we were talking. And I go, you know, Christoph, I'm thinking about the pipes. He goes, yes, well, what about it? And I go, well, you know, you take it out in the farmhouse, and I have a couple of times when you take it out, but I'm wondering, maybe Landa doesn't smoke a pipe. He knows it might just be an interrogation technique, like almost everything he does. He knows the farmer La Petite smokes a pipe, because he's going to know everything about La Petite. He needs to know before he even walks through that door. And he knows La Petite smokes a pipe. And so when he comes in there, he does the interrogation, and at just the crucial moment, he brings out a pipe. and what pipe does he bring out? Right? Not only is it, hey, my pipe's bigger than your pipe, but it's also, it's the Sherlock Holmes pipe. I know exactly what you think you're talking about. I'm going to find you out. So, what do you think, Christoph? Does Lapidite smoke a pipe, or does he not? Nope, absolutely not. Lapidite does not smoke a pipe. It is simply a prop. I mean, London does not smoke a pipe. It's simply a prop. And so that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, if there was.
And if he had said, no, I think it's very important that Landa smokes a pipe, well, then that would have been the answer. Then that would have been that.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible.